Recording. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Vermont Early Childhood State Advisory Council meeting for March. I can't believe that it's the end of March already, but I'm really happy that all of you are here. Today is an abbreviated meeting. We are doing a very brief walkthrough of the role of the State Advisory Council, but really focused on SAC membership. And we have a really amazing slate of new State Advisory Council members, and we'll be saying goodbye to some really big champions. So as always, we start with a mindful moment. We will also do introductions of the existing State Advisory Council. We have a series of votes to both vote in new and reappointed executive committee members. We'll introduce the new at-large council members and the changes in both our legislative leadership and our state agency leaders. And then we'll close with some acknowledgements of our 4 outgoing State Advisory Council members. And before we get to those votes, I do want to make sure that we're putting the bios for our new members in the chat for our new SAC candidates. So before we get started, again, it's our practice to start with a mindful moment. And so I want to ask folks to start by taking several deep breaths, feet planted on the floor. Again, fully inhaling and exhaling. And while you are doing that breath work, I want to read a very brief quote by Jane Goodall. We cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference. You just have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. All right, one more big deep breath before we dive into the work today, and we'll pull down the screen share. All right, so before we dive into introductions of the existing State Advisory Council members, I want to just remind everyone why we come together. Why do we have a State Advisory Council? What is the role and the responsibility? And so, as most of you know, Building Bright Futures is named as Vermont's Early Childhood State Advisory Council, and that is in both state and federal statute. So in the state statute, it's Title 33, Chapter 46, and we're also named under the Federal Head Start Act. And within that, if you go to look at those key pieces of legislation, what you'll see is a whole range of roles and responsibilities that we have, and it's an honor to serve as the leader of this group. So I'm really excited to have you all. But within those charges, we are holding the vision and strategic plan for Vermont's early childhood system. We're charged with convening stakeholders across all of our different sectors related to children and families to strategize and problem solve and help improve our system and working towards that vision. We're charged with monitoring Vermont's early childhood system, and that takes place through a range of activities, such as conducting a periodic needs assessment, monitoring and defining outcomes and performance measures for children and families, producing a formal report on the state of Vermont's children and families, and then consistently holding our system accountable to using evidence and data to inform policy. We're also charged with coordinating and aligning initiatives and budgets within and across state government for children and families, elevating the voice of families and communities and ensuring that they're partners in decision-making, coordinating regional council activities and elevating those priorities, and most importantly, being the primary advisor to the governor and the legislature and actually issuing formal recommendations on how we move towards the vision we've outlined for the system. This is not a small body of work, and this State Advisory Council is supported by a really broad network of over 450 partners that's coming together monthly to do this work. So we're going to take time today to do full introductions with the current slate of SAC members, the current folks who are serving, and we'll put that membership list in the chat, and we'll actually go through this order. So SAC members who are currently on the board with voting rights, we're going to ask you to respond to a question in the order that your names are listed so that you have a little bit of time to be ready to respond to that question. So I'm going to turn it over to Chloe to do introductions and roll call.
Great, thanks, Morgan. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, those of you that I can see. So again, for those of us who are on the State Advisory Council, when your name is up, please unmute and introduce yourself and your affiliation. And then the question, which maybe we should also put in the chat, is what part of the early childhood system are you most passionate about improving through your role on the State Advisory Council? So be thinking about that ahead of time. For those of you who are not on the State Advisory Council, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat and let us know who you are and that you're here. So again, I'm Chloe Leary. I'm the Executive Director of the Winston Prouty Center. I'm the outgoing co-chair, private co-chair for this council. And I'm most passionate about integrating across disciplines, and let's see this body as really a good place to do that. So I'll say the next 3 names just to cue you up, but make sure you look for your name in the chat. So Becca Webb, you're next, and then Amy Johnson and Eddie Gale, so be thinking. So go ahead, Becca Webb, are you here? Yes, there you are.
I am. And Chloe, like that's so much more smooth than what I was going to say. That means the same thing. So I'll just say ditto. I'm Becca Webb. I am a Universal Pre-K Act 166 coordinator.
And then Amy Johnson, I saw you, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Amy Johnson. I am the director of the Parent-Child Center of NCSS, representing the Vermont Parent-Child Center Network. It's really hard to choose. I want to say everything, but I would say promoting and helping people to understand and highlighting the importance of prevention and upstream services.
Great, thanks, Amy. And then Eddie Gale.
Hi, Eddie Gale with the A.D. Henderson Foundation. And I would say we are most concerned about being sure that early educators are supported properly and get what they deserve to do the wonderful work that you're doing.
Thanks, Eddie. Our next 3 privates, Mike McRae, Christy Swenson, and Lexi Duquette. So we'll start with Mike. Are you here? I think I saw you.
I'm here. Yeah. Hi, folks. My name is Mike McGrath. I work as the Assistant Executive Director for the Vermont Principals Association. And I'm most interested in the way in which early childcare interacts with public school and increasing the access for all families on a number of fronts.
Great, thanks, Mike. Christy Swenson, are you here? I'm sure I saw you. Okay, moving on, Lexi Duquette. Are you here, Lexi?
Hi, I am here. I'm Alexis Duquette. I am a parent representative out of Putney, and I am most excited about being here to kind of bridge that gap between, you know, the family and the resources and the state, and just being a support and voicing, and here to represent families in our community.
Great, thanks, Lexi. A couple more private members, Allie Richards and Dr. Ashley Miller. So Allie, I think I saw you.
Hi, Chloe. Hi, yes, I'm Allie Richards with Let's Grow Kids. I think it's probably no surprise that my answer to that would be a funded, equitable, high quality, affordable early care learning system for all who need it in Vermont. But I'm really excited to not only continue to work with all of you on that through this table, but also to understand the interconnectedness of it all, which is something I think we actually model really well in Vermont in this table. And we could be doing more across the board. So I just really appreciate that we have the ability to think about how things actually all connect to each other and support or not each other in a very thoughtful way with the lived experience of those most involved. So anyway, thank you. Sorry, this is my last meeting, so took a little extra time there.
You're allowed to. And Dr. Ashley Miller, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me okay? Sorry, my computer's being silly today. So I'm a private practice pediatrician in South Royalton, Vermont. I've been practicing in the Upper Valley for over 15 years. My passion is mental health, but my passion for this board is the prevention of the mental health needs. So the more we can integrate parenting, schools, everything that people have been talking about, the more we can prevent these really chronic mental health issues that we're seeing right now. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that's all our private members. I'm going to move on to our public members. I have in order, just to give you a heads up, Ken Jones, Renee Kelly, and Wendy Trafton. So Ken, I'm going to start with you if you're here. Okay, so Renee, you're up.
Thanks, Chloe, and thanks for giving us all, excuse me, a heads up on who's coming next. Very helpful. Good afternoon, everyone. Renee Kelly with the Vermont Head Start Collaboration Office. I think what excites me the most, I'm most passionate about in this work, is making real tangible change for families and their lived experience, making sure that's represented in state policy, and also making sure that the work we're doing is having a real impact on the day-to-day success of families.
Great, thanks, Renee. Wendy, are you with us?
Wendy sends regrets for today.
Okay, great, thank you. So the next three up, Miranda Gray, Kendall Smith, and Jessica Brumsted. So Miranda, are you with us?
I am. Thanks, Chloe. Hello, everyone. I feel like there's a number of items that I'm passionate about, but I think really it is bringing services to families, making sure that they have the equal access, which is our CCFAP, is I'm trying to make sure that families have access to childcare, and then our early intervention, really being able to wrap supports around children as young as we can, which is what gets me excited about our statewide longitudinal data system prospects, that CDD is getting to build a new IT system that will be able to track this in future years to really see what interventions are working. I think that's really important because I think we know anecdotally they are, but to be able to have that data will be really great. So thanks, and I know I was a little long-winded as well.
Great, thanks, Miranda. Kendall Smith, are you with us?
I don't think Kendall's with us today, but just for orientation for board members, Kendall serves as a representative from the governor's office. It's a non-voting member, but she is actively engaged in helping to elevate challenges and concerns and helping strategize.
Thanks, Morgan. And Jessica Brumsted, there you are. Hi.
Thank you. I guess I would say making sure families have access for sure, but also early educators so that they are able to do the work they love to do, and being able to keep them in the field for sure is our workforce is incredibly important in order to do the work, to do this work.
Great, thanks, Jessica. And three more of our public partners, Elisa, Kate Sahlberg, Kate Rogers, and Cheryl Wilcox. So we'll start with Elisa. I see you.
Hi, Chloe. Thank you. I'm Elisa Stahlberg. I'm the Director of Maternal and Child Health at the Health Department. Apologies for being late. There's so many things to be passionate about. I think the thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately is really how to make sure our systems are connected and working towards common goals and in coordination with each other, so that been reflecting a lot about this idea about sort of families being able to sort of engage with a seamless system that they're not necessarily aware of all of the structures that support that, but they can just engage with the system and have successes along the way. So thank you.
Thank you. Kate Rogers, are you with us?
Hi, everyone. I am Kate Rogers, Agency of Education. So I'm passionate about a lot of things related to early childhood, but I think, in recent years, it's really been focused on building and scaling up our early childhood system, early childhood multi-tier systems of support in order to support the workforce in their knowledge and skill set to implement evidence-based practices within whatever programs they are, of course, to support positive outcomes for all of our children. So that's what I'm most passionate about. So thank you.
Thanks, Kate. And Cheryl, I know you're here.
I'm here. Cheryl Wilcox with Department of Mental Health. I'm the Interagency Planning Director and Public Co-Chair with Chloe for the remainder of today. What I am most passionate about is thinking of all of the attention we give physical health from the moment a baby is born and before they're born, and really wanting to also be talking about mental health for the child, for their caregivers, and the impact that makes lifelong for them.
Thanks, Cheryl. Two members who also sent the regrets, Paul Dragon with CDOEO, the Champlain Valley Office of Economic Opportunity, and then Flor Diaz-Smith, who is with the Vermont School Boards Association. So they could not be here, but they are on the advisory committee. Is it Dana Smith, anybody else?
I think Flor might have just joined by phone, but I'm not sure if she's in a position to actually introduce herself. So Flor, if you're able to.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
We can.
can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's Flor Diaz-Smith. I might drop in you. They wanted to introduce myself from the Vermont School Boards Association. And what I'm most passionate about being with Building Bright Futures is the partnership that we have to create access for pre-K for all our students, and the partnership with private and public to make sure that we have a system that is equitable and is quality and is simple. So that's it. It's
Great,
great to
thank
be here with all of you.
Thanks, Flor. Did we miss anybody else? Catherine Morgan? Okay, great.
I'm here, Christy
Oh,
Swenson.
there you are, Christy. Sorry. We'll back
That's
up.
okay.
There you are.
So I represent Head Start on BBF, and there seem like there are so many things to be excited about in early ed right now. But I think I would echo Jessica. If I have to pick one, it's really workforce, because that seems like the stumbling block for having enough openings for all the children that need care, and also a stumbling block for quality of that care that's provided. So I really, I think, and I'm seeing some nice progress in that area. So that's very exciting to me.
Great, thanks, Christy. Anybody else I missed? Okay, sorry about that. Great, I'm going to hand it over to Cheryl.
Thanks, Chloe. We are going to move into the business portion of our meeting today. So to let folks know, the new board members that takes effect March 31st, but wanted to get February meeting minutes approved. So I'm wondering if I can have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from February. So this is for essays. Thank you, Allie. I saw Allie Richards raise her hand. Can I have a second, please?
I can second, Cheryl.
Thanks, Elisa. All
It
right.
was Becca, but that's okay.
Oh, your voice, that's so weird. I was looking at Elisa and thought she had spoken, so thank you. It's always so fun with the boxes on the screen. So looking for all those in favor, just say aye, or raise your hand or thumbs up. All right, and I can't see, I don't have enough squares to see everyone. So that's the other joy here. So if I miss you, feel free to unmute. All right. Anyone who is opposed? Not seeing any. Anyone who would like to abstain? All right, not seeing any of those. All right, so the meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. All right,
I think I'm back. Am I back now?
That's what I was just going to say. I believe you're back, Chloe, and there's going to be a screen share.
Back for more voting. So just to reiterate that Morgan, BDF, as Morgan said, is the access, the mechanism for advising the governor and the legislature through Title 33 and Chapter 46 of state, in the state, and then federally through the Federal Head Start Act. So, but BDF is actually a nonprofit, for those of you who don't know. And as a nonprofit, it does have an executive committee, which, as we've been saying, they're co-chair, secretary, treasurer. And so the part of this meeting is that the executive committee has a proposal for the new slate of executive committee members, which you see in front of you. So I'm going to read this. On behalf of the executive committee, we present the following slate of officers at the recommendation of the executive moves to elect the following. Sorry, I'm going to start over. The Building Bright Futures State Advisory Council, at the recommendation of the executive committee, moves to elect the slate of officers for the executive committee. Renominating Cheryl Wilcox as the SAC co-chair for 1 year term to complete her time on the executive committee by March 31st of 2023. Nomination of Flora Diaz-Smith as the private SAC co-chair for a 2-year term ending March 31st of 2024. Nominating Becca Webb for a 2-year term as the treasurer ending March 31st, 2024. And continuing with Renee Kelly as secretary. Any questions on that slate? I kind of stumbled through that a little bit. Okay. So if no questions, is there a motion?
Go ahead,
I see-
Eddie, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're muted.
In your introduction, there is a bullet for an at-large seat vacant, and could you let us know what the plans are for that?
Sure, I'm happy to jump in, Chloe. So in our last year of having our executive committee, we had a parent representative serve on the executive board. And as we are also recruiting a family member for the SAC, we are also considering what that seat should look like, but would like to maintain having a family member serve in that seat on the executive committee. So the plan is that it's a family member, but we're also open to having a discussion more broadly with the team about that.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions on this slate? Can I have a motion for the slate to move forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Eddie. Can somebody second?
I'll second, Christy.
Thanks, Christy. All those in favor, some indication thereof. And hand raise, thumbs up, eye in the chat. Great. And then any opposed? Maybe if you're opposed, unmute and say so, because it might be hard to see in all the hands. Okay. How about any abstentions? Great. I'm going to say that that's approved as far as I could tell. So wonderful. All right. I'm going to thank you, everybody. I'm going to hand it back to Cheryl.
Thanks, Chloe. So it's funny. I feel like, as I'll speak for myself, a social worker, like none of this process is something that rolls off my tongue. So it's nice to be in good company with you, Chloe, because this is for anyone who's done it. Like it's just the kind of stumbling, you do your best thing. So wanting to talk about the State Advisory Council, it is a 23-person governor-appointed body. This includes 7 public designated members, 2 legislators, and 14 at-large members. At-large members serve for up to 2 3-year terms. For BBF to be successful in meeting our legislative charge, it is important for the council to represent the cross-sector nature of our work, including representation of parents, business members, those serving children and families from prenatal through age 8. On behalf of the executive committee, we nominate the following slate of candidates for at-large State Advisory Council membership. Full bios were sent out before, and there's a link included in the agenda for today. So we're going to introduce each member and then call for a vote. For folks that are candidates, no worries. This is not you don't have to speak and do a formal introduction or explain yourself, so you're good. And Chloe, I'm going to hand it over to you to do the introductions.
Great, thanks for that honor. It's really exciting to have Janet McLaughlin on the slate. Janet's the Executive Director of the Vermont Association for the Education of Young Children. And prior to that, she served in different leadership roles at Let's Grow Kids. So very familiar with our work and what we're doing here. Excited to have Dimitri Garter from Global Z International. He's the co-founder and CEO. Global Z International is a data management company serving global brands for the past 30 years, and Dimitri is nominated for a small business partner seat. And then Heather Wilcoxon is the Assistant Children's Division Director for Healthcare and Rehabilitation Services, or HCRS, which is the designated mental health agency serving Windsor and Windham counties. And Heather oversees early child family mental health as part of her responsibility. So this is a very worthy and exciting members that are joining us. So Cheryl, you want to lead us through the vote?
I do. So this is an interesting piece for Janet, Dimitri, and Heather. When we were in person, folks would step out of the physical room. So for the vote, if you could please turn your camera off and step out of our virtual room for a moment, that would be great. Our voting language is the Building Bright Future State Advisory Council, at the recommendation of the Executive Committee, moves to elect the following at-large members to the Advisory Council for a term of 3 years ending March 31st, 2025. Janet McLaughlin, Dimitri Gardner, and Heather Wilcoxon. So looking for a motion, please. And just FYI, I can only see 3 people on my screen now because of the slide share. So feel free to unmute.
I'll move. It's Allie.
Thank you, Allie. And thanks for saying who it was, since I'm not good at voices, apparently. Can I have a second, please?
Cheryl, it's Becca. I'll second.
Thanks, Becca. All those in favor can just do hands up, thumbs up. Anyone who is opposed? I liked Chloe's, like, please say something so I would know that you're opposed. That'll be easier. Anyone who would like to abstain for any reason? All right. I think that was a successful nomination. I don't know how to get the folks back in the room. I assume just turn your camera back on. Usually we would have knocked on the door. Just all so fun. So thank you all. It's great to have that and have new members on board. I am handing it back to Morgan.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. I can't see everybody in the virtual room right now either, but just a very brief congratulations for the full slate of members, both on the executive board and our new at-large members. It's a really incredible opportunity to be a part of this network, and we're really proud to have such strong cross-sector partnerships. So we're thrilled to have you here. And, you know, I think one of the most important things that I can convey to all of you who are just coming in, and those of you who are leaving but not actually being allowed to leave, for the record, Chloe, Allie, and others. You know, one of the really important parts of serving on this board is having vision, leadership, and actually creating change for kids and families in our system. And you're part of a much bigger network. It's not just the 23 governor appointed members. It's a really big network that brings together so many different public and private partners, families, educators, to create this change. So we're really excited to have you on the State Advisory Council representing these groups and really being a voice for them that gets elevated. So thank you for being here. So next, we're going to move on to another part of our board, which is the public representation on the State Advisory Council. So I know that we mentioned this a little bit before. There are public members, there are private members, there are family members. And right now we want to take a minute just to talk a little bit about our public members. So the public members on the State Advisory Council are appointed by either the secretary of their respective agency, the commissioner of their department, if it's not the commissioner themselves, the Speaker of the House, or the Senate Pro Tem. It's really important to note that the folks in these positions don't have term limits. It's by appointment. And we're really excited to have some new members be joining us right now. So our agency representatives to the State Advisory Council are really critical entities. They serve as conduits to their department, division, or agency. Their job is to be able to elevate everything they hear within this setting, be able to integrate it and align it at the highest level, and then be able to bring initiatives and priorities and questions to this table to help create change. And all of the members that serve as the public partners are also serving on the Early Childhood Interagency Coordinating Team. That's what we call ECICT. It's one of our strategic plan committees. And that group is coming together monthly to really focus on how we build the vision we have for our system, which is an integrated continuum of comprehensive high quality services that's equitable, accessible, and will improve outcomes for each and every child. So we're really excited to announce that Sarah Truckle is going to be joining our board as the representative from the Agency of Human Services Secretary's Office. So Sarah is now in a position titled the Director of Program and Strategic Operations. And we're really excited to have her as a replacement for Wendy Trafton, who couldn't be here this afternoon. It's also really important to talk about some of our legislative appointed members. And for those of you who have been a part of BBF for quite some time now, we have one House representative and one member from the Senate. We are thrilled to be onboarding Senator Ruth Hardy today, and she will be representing Addison County and serving and continue to serve on the Senate Health and Welfare Committee. And serve in a really critical role on this board. We are awaiting that formal appointment from the Senate Pro Tem, but we're really appreciative that Ruth has already been actively engaged in a range of initiatives, specifically the Child Care and Early Childhood Education Systems Analysis, as a member of the Advisory Committee. Any questions about our public or appointed members, whether it's from our state agency leadership or from the Senate or the House? Awesome. All right. Well, I'm thrilled to have such a strong slate of members coming into this next year. And now we want to take a couple of minutes to do some thank yous and appreciations for our outgoing members. And I believe we have Emily Merrill, who has just joined, and we have asked a couple of our existing members to say a few words about each of these partners. So I'm going to invite Renee Kelly to speak a little bit about Emily's time on the board.
Sure, thank you, Morgan. And I can't see Emily. Is there a way? Oh, I see her now. I had to switch to my second page. Hi, Emily. Great to see you. And thank you, Beth and Morgan, for the opportunity to just say a few words. I'm so sad to be losing this connection with Emily, but as life happens, kids age. We all age, and Emily's kiddos have now kind of aged out of the early childhood system. But just wanted to take a few minutes today, Emily, to really thank you for your service, not just here within BBF, but really within Vermont, and for all that you've done on behalf of Vermont kids and families. When I came into the collab position in 2018, you were one of the first folks that I met with. And as many of you on this board know, I'm very passionate about family engagement work. And so it was an honor and a privilege to connect with Emily, who was responsible for helping to formulate the BBF Families and Communities Committee. And so I had the honor of sitting at those tables with her. Great to connect with her and hear that Emily was actually a Head Start parent and had participated in the Head Start program. So we instantly had that connection. But just overall, I've been so impressed with Emily's leadership and her approach to doing this work. And I've often joked in meetings that, there's a little Emily on my shoulder reminding me about the importance of storytelling in our work. And as someone who tends to operate in a very black and white world and loves data, but can also recognize and see the importance of qualitative data, I think, Emily, you were always so great at reminding the groups to really focus on the stories of the families and the experiences of families. And how valuable that data is and how we really need to take that into consideration when we're making recommendations or proposing changes within our system. So you've just been an incredible advocate, just an incredible human being. As most folks on this board now know, the Family and Community Committee, we always strive to have at least 50% of our membership be parents and caregivers, not professionals working in this field. And just over the last couple of years, we've finally gotten there. And there's no doubt in my mind that it's been Emily's work and her leadership that has moved us there. I was so excited when she took on the project management position under the PDG grant to really step up and facilitate the family needs assessment process, working hand in hand with the Center for the Study of Social Policy in designing that instrument and training this network of other parents to be engaging in their communities and really collecting this data. Just all of the work has been just such a great contribution to the field, and just personally, the opportunity to get to know you more and to hear more about your experience and to see the way you work, it's been a great privilege. So I'm very sorry to see you go. I hope you'll still come back and join us, and we have opportunities to connect with you in other ways. But thank you for all of your years of service, and best of luck as those kiddos keep aging and moving into those new developmental phases that, everyone's already warning me about. So great to see you today, Emily, and thank you again for your service.
Thank you, Renee. And just so folks know, in terms of the agenda, we are going to ask our outgoing members to say a few words at the end of doing our reflections and appreciations. So Eddie, I would like to invite you to speak about Allie's time on the board.
Sure. I first met Allie when she was working in the then governor's office on the Race to the Top grant, and she created this atmosphere of collaboration amongst all these private and public holders working in early childhood, which I think was sort of a forerunner for the first early childhood action plan. And you knew that not only was Allie creating that table, but she was also the person probably working until midnight on any given night, making sure that everything was reported on correctly and keeping the government happy. I wanted to share a couple of things that Allie's colleagues have said about her work, her ability to offer thoughtful, encouraging, and useful feedback on nearly every topic that's come up at the council, that she makes the time for thoughtful dialogue with all stakeholders. She responds to every piece of outreach or communication that she receives from parents, occasional grandparent, a childcare provider, volunteer childcare program board member, and as well as state leaders or CEOs. She's authentically cares about Vermonters and especially Vermont families. And she gives you her whole self. She makes us laugh, she keeps it real, and she makes it all a ton of fun. Allie has turned Let's Grow Kids into a nationally recognized advocacy effort. There was one time during COVID on a national webinar where a practitioner from San Diego, California typed in, "I have a professional crush on Let's Grow Kids." I don't know if any of you might know Allie's board chair, Rick Davis, but he is the most demanding person in the philanthropic and nonprofit field. And you know that when Allie asked him about paid family leave and telling him that, we have to take a lead here, we have to walk the walk on this. You know that Rick said, okay, but could you do 2 at a time? And Allie has done that with her twins, Wes and Bo. And I would also point out for all of us who have done heroic work during COVID under the most challenging of circumstances, Allie has ranked right up there amongst having the most challenging of circumstances. The one knock I've heard against Allie is that she doesn't know how to pause. And that's in a dramatic pause. And so what does Allie do about that? She's working on it. She is the only person I know who doesn't take a pause to work on her pauses. So Allie, we're grateful for you and your service, not only for the great things happening for young children and early educators now, but the great things that are also going to be happening for them in the near future as a result of your work. And we greatly appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Thank you, Eddie. I don't know about other board members. I'm a little bit emotional hearing all of these appreciations, so thank you. And so lastly, I want to invite Cheryl to speak and say a few words about both Wendy Trafton and then Chloe.
Hello again. So Wendy Trafton, I know she couldn't be here, but this is recorded, so it will live on forever and she can watch it over and over. Wendy stepped in from our secretary's office last year and really dove in, and I would say in the midst of also holding a lot of pretty widespread systems pieces, including grants and contracts that we have with our mental health system, which is a lot of work. But she stepped up and was willing to be a part of this and wanted to learn. She definitely brings with her a lot of curiosity and sensitivity to the work going on and what needs to happen, and was always very gracious, and also was amazing in being able to answer questions about Medicaid, which is definitely a specialty area for her and how we think about that. So she was with this board a short time, and she had a nice impact on the conversations and work we do, and she's easily accessible. So I know we will still be maintaining connections and work with her. And then Chloe, who I have just so sincerely enjoyed co-chairing with I think it's been years that we have been on the board together and then been able to co-chair. And when I think about you, Chloe, and what you bring, I feel like there are people out there that you want to hear their opinion, and it's always really thoughtful. And it's not just platitudes of this is all great and things are fine. It's really deep in meaning and always respectful, but really pushing on the system, because it is very clear from your involvement with parent-child centers and what you do for young children and their families and mental health, and completely across the board, the dedication and commitment you have, and your sense of humor, which is very appreciated, especially in the midst of COVID and how difficult things were. Also really going to miss your background. Like often you can see the background of your office and the street and like people, and which feels like this visual of like there's always busy stuff going on around you, but you step up to the plate with incredible grace, and I will really miss this connection and the work we've done together. And I think I know the board continues to be in strong hands, but you being at the table for executive committee and this board and being a part of conversations and pushing us, I've been grateful for and have learned a tremendous amount from you. And so now that I'm getting choked up, I will end and just thank you for everything you've done. And I will greatly miss seeing you on a regular basis.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee, Eddie, and Cheryl for speaking about our outgoing members. And I don't want to take up too much time, but just wanted to say a personal thank you, especially to Emily, Allie, and Chloe, who oriented me to my role as the leader of this State Advisory Council over the last 3 years. It's been incredibly powerful to learn from each of you and to really be thinking critically about how we're doing what's best for kids and families in the state. So I cannot appreciate you enough for serving as mentors on this board and for really driving this work forward. So thank you. I want to pause and ask the three of you who are here, if there's anything that you would like to share in reflecting about your time on the SAC or the dynamic about this public and private partnership with everyone still in the room.
Yes. When have I ever said no to that? But Chloe and Emily, I don't want to necessarily go first if you're dying to. Just thank you. I mean, first of all, Eddie, that is just so lovely. I cannot remember when I was able to just sit back and relax and appreciate a tribute. So my goodness, just personally, that was so nice. And thank you. And thank you for always allowing for that space, Morgan. We sort of forget that we should be helping each other out and congratulating each other and telling each other why we appreciate each other. So thank you. And I just remember that in 2015, I switched jobs, I got married, and I moved. So nothing in my life was the same at all. Not even like my water glasses, like my phone, my computer, my colleagues, nothing was the same except for being on the BBF State Advisory Council. I remember I went to my last meeting, then I did all that, then I went on my honeymoon, then I came back to a BBF meeting. It was sort of the first thing and only constant. So it's been a long time that I've been involved with BBF, and I've seen it evolve and grow, and it has been so gratifying because, first of all, it really does highlight the need and for good leadership. It's always a piece of the puzzle. When you have strong vision, you have strong leadership, it helps so much bring sort of the intent to life. And then this idea of this entity in particular being this place to model public and private, partnership, public and private members, and then have this sort of state centralized voice to sort of harness that power and the momentum, and then have the regional councils to have that feedback loop with the regions, with community, with parents, with practitioners. It's a model. It's hard to do. We don't have a lot of good examples of it done well. I feel like BBF has stayed the course, kept its head down, weathered a lot because it's hard to do that and has gotten so far. I feel like we are really an entity that, I'll say we, even after this meeting, we are an entity that really is trying to do right, is very self-aware, is continuously improving, adding data, finding gaps, and filling those gaps. So I really do think it's been a total honor. And it also has been a just wonderful place to be with colleagues and create that space and model a lot of really important things, for the world, not just in early childhood, but it also has really been a vehicle to move us forward light years in early childhood. And I think we're seeing that in Vermont. So I'm so proud. We're so close to so many wonderful things. We've already accomplished so many wonderful things. And I'm really glad that the country is also paying attention, as deservedly so. So I really credit BBF for a lot of that leadership and also setting that stage for all of us to come together and do the work. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Allie. Emily or Chloe?
I'll jump in and just say it's really been an honor and a privilege to serve on this council. I've seen it over many years and many changes and many ups and downs. And I will say, I think it's we're on a really great path as we head into the future, that this iteration is the strongest I've seen. And that is partially what makes it comfortable to, I think Cheryl, you said, leaving everything in good hands. And not that I'm going anywhere. I can't help myself. I'm sure you will still see me and I'll still speak up and be involved. But I do feel like it's a really exciting time. The system, I'm especially excited about the systems analysis as a way to keep furthering our integration and our work together and modeling how this kind of collaboration in the truest sense of the word can really make a difference. So you'll know where to find me, and thank you for all the kind words also. Allie, I think you're right. It's nice to hear, to remind ourselves and to hear other people appreciate our work. So I think we don't do it enough, and I'm going to remember that and try to do it more often. So thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Emily?
Thank you, Renee, for the kind tribute. I'm a little bit of a wallflower. So that was a great exercise for me in receiving praise, and you're so kind, and it's been incredible to work with you and the team. And I did sort of tear up a little bit, but recovered. It has been an incredible honor to sit with this group and the iteration before, and I can't even quite remember how many years it's been, but enough to see folks come and go and come back sometimes. And I have seen just such a shift in BBF's ability to include family voice. Coming into my first meeting, not knowing any acronyms, not even feeling like I could slow down the meeting to ask what an acronym was, it was a tough learning curve. And it also gave me some incredible information on how to train, future parent leaders into being able to sit in a leadership position with confidence. And so I appreciate that resume builder for myself. And I also just want to extend gratitude to all of the parents who made that work possible by showing up. And it was just so heartening to see all of the future parent leaders contributing to the work that BBF is doing. And I think that's a testament to the value and the staying power of this work over time. And I absolutely have every confidence that the parent leaders coming on board are going to continue to hold that strong family voice for their own families and communities and across Vermont. And I look forward to continuing to work toward improving the lives of families and children. And I am now working in higher ed in a program that supports parenting students who are earning their first undergraduate degrees. And so I'm still in it, and I appreciate all the learning and development I've been able to do with this group. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Emily. All right. So, I know that the three of you are stepping off of the board. It solely means that you don't have voting rights. I expect to see you actively participating and at the table, but just really proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish with your leadership on this board. So thank you so much. And I know that each of you will continue to be champions for this work, regardless of whether or not you're on this board. So thank you. And I do want to have us stop the recording at this point, and we're going to end our State Advisory Council meeting now. So the public meeting is now ended.